Okay. And if the grays couldn't reproduce, then how exactly did their form mutate over time while they were still underground?
Genetic engineering.
Oh.
They had to genetically engineer themselves to adapt to the changing environment.
And do a lot of other civilizations that you've encountered also work on the principle of synchronism like the Sasani beings do?
Quite a few do, especially those that are really part of our interstellar alliance. It's really the currency of our alliance.
And so, who in your reality, or how did your civilization discover that we change realities billions of times per second?
Well, this is really quite obvious when you start thinking about what it is your own scientists are looking for. They're looking for an idea called the unified theory of everything, where they understand that everything is an expression of the same one basic fundamental thing. But if you take that a little further, you have to understand that if you're going to reduce everything down to something that is an expression of one thing, well, you have to include space and time as well as forces and other attributes of physical reality. By reducing space to its simplest form, it reduces down to a single dimensionless point. By reducing time down to its simplest form, you reduce it down to a single timeless moment. If you understand that everything is one thing, and therefore even space and time are reduced to their simplest components, then the experience itself of being capable of experiencing what appears to be vast space and vast amounts of time must be a projection that all exists at the same time, and therefore you logically conclude that what appears to be different locations and what appears to be different moments must all inhabit the same now moment and the same now point. And therefore, by definition, the experience of space and time in your reality demands the existence of parallelism, because all of these so-called separate moments and all of these so-called separate places and locations existing simultaneously, quote unquote, side by side, so to speak, demands the existence of parallelism and parallel realities. Otherwise, you couldn't experience it in the way that you do. So if everything is truly one thing and happening all at once, so to speak, then the only way that can actually exist and give you the experience you have in physical reality is for there to have everything happening in parallel. So once we realized as a civilization that everything was truly one thing, for us, the conclusion was logical that there must be parallel realities. And from there, we were able to formulate the idea of what for each reality might be the tick of the clock and the rate at which you may pass through these different realities to create the illusion of space and time and change. It was a natural extension of the understanding that everything exists at the same time and in the same place.
Thank you.
Yes.
This question is, why do black holes usually lie at the heart of galaxies? Are they really just supermassive black holes, or do they have an element of higher intelligence?
And why does that have to be mutually exclusive? It can be a black hole and have higher intelligence. So the idea is that they form the anchor point, the seed, the core, the kernel of the galaxies. They create the template, vibrationally, gravitationally, the grid on which galaxies are born, so to speak, are placed, come into existence. They are the initial blueprint of the idea of the formation of a galaxy. Now, there are some exceptions. We're not going to go into that right now. But fundamentally, for the most part, supermassive black holes, which do exhibit a type of intelligence, carry information in a way that lays out the template for the galaxies that they wind up at the core of.
Okay. And there was a question about Sasquatch and why we never find the remains of Sasquatch physically here on Earth.
Yes. As we have said, Sasquatch can go into other dimensions, other levels of reality, parallel worlds, and so on and so forth. The Sasquatch in general, though there are some differences in how they do this, have a particular level of reality, a particular place that they go to where many rituals are performed, including the idea of the rituals of honoring their dead. Their bodies are simply not left behind. They are taken to that slightly altered physical reality, slightly altered dimension of experience that's still quite physical, but doesn't really contain any other life. And therefore, they deposit their dead bodies there and perform the rituals there that honor them.
It's really interesting.
Yes. They have a whole culture you know nothing about, whole places they experience you know nothing about.
Wow, it's just, and that was our natural evolutionary path to become more like that.
It is what you would have become had you not been altered by alien genetics, yes.
So, as you know, we've had some pretty momentous things happening here on the planet right now, and it's a great concern to a lot of people, of course. And so the one question is, why did Putin invade Ukraine?
All right. I'm going to make a connection in order to give you the information that we are allowed to give you. This connection is to what might euphemistically be referred to as the Interstellar Alliance Council. So I will be speaking on their behalf as well as on the behalf of myself. One moment. At this moment, the being known as Vladimir Putin is the most frightened and weakest person on your planet at this moment. Exhibiting the idea of weakness, exhibiting the ideas of fear, exhibiting the idea of loss of control and fear attached to that concept. Using force, using weapons, using coercion, using lies does not make one powerful. The use of such things is an indication that the person using them, or the people thereof, fear that they are weak and powerless. For they do not believe that their ideologies and their perspectives are powerful enough to draw and attract those to them without coercion, without force, without weapons, without lies. Therefore, they do not really believe in the power of their own ideology. They fear that they are weak, they fear that they are powerless, and they strike out and attack for the purpose of covering up and denying their belief in their own weakness and their own lack of self-empowerment. The idea on your planet is that from our civilizations, there are no soldiers, there are no police forces. This does not mean that you should abandon them or dismantle them. But in our reality, such beings take on more of the idea that you refer to as first responders, rescue operations, those that benefit the masses by coming in when and where they are needed to aid and assist and be of value in uplifting the civilization. Therefore, we lay out for you at this time, as an honorary member of the Interstellar Alliance, the notion and the practice and the actions necessary for these incidents to no longer occur. You have to have what you call your military and police forces, where each and every individual understands how life works and has an ethical and moral center on an individual basis, rather than following orders in a slavish way. They would respond to any such being as a dictator that is operating in a negative, coercive, lying, forceful way with a no. We will not follow you because it is outside the alignment of our moral and ethical centers in our connection to all that is. Such beings would be an aberration on your planet and would be immediately removed into a program of correction and therapy to allow them to learn to connect to their own self-empowerment, their own spiritual center and expression of all that is, rather than being left, as you would say, in charge. When you can, create programs that instill this universal ethical and moral center, a sense of connection to spirit, and expression and actions that are in alignment with who you truly are as powerful beings, and honoring and owning your own true power, it will no longer be necessary to have soldiers that follow orders slavishly. It will no longer be necessary to have a police force that must enforce the law, but simply act as those that guide, nurture, uplift, remind, in the same way that we have the organizational bodies in our alliance that amplify and magnify the concept of organization, the concept of awareness, the concept of stability, the concept of fluidity, the concept of adaptability, and the concepts of strengthening and magnifying everyone's individual self-empowerment in a way that functions harmoniously throughout the whole. You must think in terms of whole systems, rather than components that you struggle to piece together. In this way, when there are no longer those that simply slavishly follow orders, but each having their own ethical and moral center, will such actions as you are now experiencing on your planet no longer be possible. You must allow yourself, if you wish, to create programs, to teach, to educate, to help each individual find their self-empowerment and align to the idea of what you call the positive side of their ethical and moral experience in life, to connect back to their awareness of all that is, so that they will no longer support individuals who force, who coerce, who lie. The idea, therefore, is that this program must be started on your planet for you to truly achieve what can be achieved in your connection to our interstellar alliance as a full-fledged member. Through the window of open contact, it would be wise if you would accelerate these programs in such a way, create these programs and act on them in such a way that you can allow each to feel their own true self-empowerment and move forward as a collective whole, a collection of absolute individuals who are each empowered to be their unique selves with their unique connection to all that is, no longer slavishly following orders for those who fear that they are powerless, who fear others, who fear loss, who fear disconnection, who fear they are weak. For again, weapons do not make you powerful. They are a statement that you feel and believe you are powerless to attract what you need in life without them. Let that be the anthem of your world. We thank you. Will that have answered your question?
Yes, thank you. There was a follow-up question also, which was, will the ETs prevent full-scale nuclear war, and how can they do that?
As we have said many times, there have been many demonstrations given over the military bases on your planet that harbor nuclear missiles, where our crafts have, by hovering over and extending their electromagnetic beams, shut down the launch codes, erased the launch codes, scrambled the launch codes to demonstrate that while it might still be possible for there to be a limited nuclear strike, a small one somewhere on your world, the idea of global thermonuclear war would rip through the fabric of dimensions to other realities, and this you are not allowed to do. So this will be prevented on a larger scale, even though smaller scales that will not have that effect interdimensionally can still be allowed, because you still have to make up your own minds about what you wish to experience on your world. But the larger expression of it, yes, is not allowed and will be prevented.
That's good to hear. And we appreciate that. And we appreciate everything that you've shared. Thank you so much, Bashar, from me and from all of our listeners. We really appreciate you and love you.
Our unconditional love to you all is our passion and our pleasure to interact with you in this way. And now, please allow yourselves to enjoy the idea of your heartfelt meditation. All right, I'll say good day. This transmission has been titled Matters of the Heart in honor of your February month, your Valentine holiday. And since we will be talking about matters of the heart, let us get to the heart of the matter. First of all, the physicalness. Your heart, as you know, beats to pump your blood through your veins and arteries around your body, circulating oxygen to your systems so they may absorb it and thrive and function properly. Let's draw an analogy between that system, the circulatory system of your body, and the circulatory system of the earth. You know that deep within your planet, you have a circulatory system of molten metal. As this molten metal moves around underneath the ground of your world, this is what generates the electromagnetic field of your planet. Likewise, your blood, your body contains a certain amount of iron. And the idea is that as it moves around your body, similarly, it also is to some degree responsible for amplifying and magnifying and producing the electromagnetic field that extends from your body. As you allow yourself more clarity, more refinement in your physical form, as you remove toxins from your system that may interfere with this process of your blood circulation, this electromagnetic field becomes more and more refined and extends farther and farther from your body. The strongest component of it is the heartbeat itself, or when the blood arrives in the heart, containing all of that iron. And with every heartbeat, you send out an electromagnetic bubble that expands from your body, all of you, and immerse each other in these electromagnetic connective bubbles. So that one heart literally talks to all the others, and you are immersed in the electromagnetic bubbles of all the other hearts. This allows for amplification of the communication non-verbally between you, allows for greater consistency and refinement and precision in your telepathic contacts with one another, which again is why we say telepathy instead of telepathy, because the empathy underscores the emotional component of the heart, the emotional intelligence of the heart that communicates with every beat to every other heart on the planet. You are living, expanding bubbles of electromagnetic energy that expand and issue from the heart with every single beat, in constant connection and communication with one another. Now, as you refine your physical form, as you ascend, as you accelerate your vibration, uplift your frequency, these heartbeats become even more powerful. The electromagnetic or auric field around your body becomes highly sensitive to higher frequency energies from other dimensions, including the spirit realm. And so again, as your frequency rises, not only do you have better connections among yourselves physically on the planet, you have much stronger ability to connect and receive information from the spirit realm as well. So it is with the opening of the heart, the acceleration of your vibration, the upliftment of your frequency, that you will not only connect with all physical beings on your planet, not just humans, but all physical beings, but also connect with the spirit realm more consciously and have more awareness of their communications to you that come through electromagnetic energy. The electromagnetic field of your planet that you are immersed in again allows you to align with it by accelerating your frequency, creating the entire planet in that sense to be a beacon, to be a receiver of spirit realm energy, higher dimensional energies, extraterrestrial energies that operate on higher frequencies. So when you are all aligned in that sense in the future, you will find that you will open up gateways, lines of communication to dimensions you had no idea existed. You will be able to receive information from many different levels of reality. And this will become the norm as we experience it on our world. We commune with spirits and extra-dimensional beings every day, all the time. It is part of our natural reality to know that this information exists, can be received and tapped into at any given moment when you're operating on that frequency from the highest levels of the heart. So you will eventually get used to the idea of walking through a dreamlike world, just as we do, where the heart really is what gives you the opportunity to know how much there is you are not seeing now, not experiencing now. You're only experiencing a relatively thin slice of reality, even of your own reality. But when you open your heart, all those gateways, all those doorways, all those windows will begin to open as well, and you will see how much richer your reality truly is. Now, with regard to energetic communication with your own higher mind, the heart is absolutely crucial in this process, because the higher mind, again, speaks in the language of energy, sends energy of certain frequencies to you, which your physical mind translates into the sensation of passion. But the reason it does this is because the heart is specifically tuned to the vibration of the higher mind in its natural state. Therefore, the reason that your physical body translates the messages, the communications from your higher mind as the sensation of passion, excitement, curiosity, attraction, and unconditional love is because the heart is what's actually directly receiving the core communication from the higher mind and filling your body with that vibration. Now, of course, it can be filtered through the belief systems of the physical mind that can allow it not necessarily to be experienced in its pure form, its pure unconditional loving form. And that is why it is so important to get a hold of your belief systems, to consciously be aware of them. Let go of the fear-based ones that prevent you from experiencing the pure core vibration transmission from your higher mind that is bounced back to the physical mind by the heart with every beat as a guiding mechanism to say, align with this, align with this, align with this. This is your truth. This is your truth. This is your truth. So the idea is that you're constantly being given an opportunity to let go and zero back to your natural state with literally every beat of your heart, reflecting to you like a drum, the vibration, the core vibration of your higher mind in its natural state. And it gives you the opportunity to guide yourself in letting those negative beliefs go so that your physical mind can also align and be transparent to those vibrations that are bouncing from the heart into the physical mind that are representative of the core communication of the higher mind. And that way you can move forward in physical reality, in love, in passion. This is why it translates as passion, because it is filtering through or bouncing back from the heart to your physical mind that only understands that vibration really when it aligns with it as the sensation of passion, excitement, curiosity, attraction, and love. So take the cue not only from the higher mind, but from what the heartbeat, every heartbeat is reflecting to you. That passion, that curiosity, that excitement, that freedom, that love is truly your core frequency, your natural state. And move forward, choose to move forward in that way. And you will be at one, at peace, in total freedom and joy, in love, by listening to your heart, which has its own mind in a sense, connecting to the higher mind, and between the two, with the physical mind in the center, between those two, you can be guided to remember your true self and live a life of pure love, joy, creativity, and harmony by being the true individuals that you each are, that you were created to be. That is your path in life. In this month that you honor the idea of love and the heart, in February and your Valentine's Day, and reach out also to all the different peoples and all the differences on your world in a loving way, to incorporate and embrace everyone in their own truth and free them from their own limitations by being the living examples of someone living their truth, living from their heart and head in unison, in harmony and higher mind. Do so not only in this month, but in every month and in every year. And you will change your frequencies and navigate yourselves to the versions of Earth that already coexist that are far more representative of the heart of love and the experience of ecstasy and joy. So, we thank you for allowing us to share this heartfelt message with you. And in return, we ask, in what way now may we be of service to you? You may begin, if you wish, with your questions and comments.
Are there like negative-oriented entities in fifth density?
The only level at which you could say that something might in some way be negatively oriented in fifth density is the lower astral realm, where you can have spirits that have unfinished business, may not even know that they're dead, may be harboring and holding on to old belief systems that don't let them to pass on to higher realms of spirit. So you can have that experience in the lower astral realm of non-physical reality, which is fifth density.
Okay, and how do non-physical and quasi-physical beings experience laughter? Do you all laugh? And
Yes, we do. The idea, again, is that it may be experienced as an overwhelming or larger infused sensation that is more expansive than just being contained within the physical parameters of a body. It's like suddenly being filled with light, would perhaps be the closest analogy we can make.
I think you mentioned if you actually started laughing when you're when Darryl's in the channeling state, that it would wake him up or make him come out of the state?
It would cause a disconnection because the laughter would be centering for us. So as we blend more, as the channel matches our frequency more, there can be some slight opportunities for you to experience us having a laugh. But in general, were we to go fully into that state, there might be a disconnection if the channel's vibration is not equal to the level in which we experience that state.
I see.
So we do, in some sense, allow there to be a slight suppression of that when we are doing this and having this connection, because we often laugh, and therefore you would be constantly having an interruption.
I guess you have to learn how to control that, when you're channeling.
Well, it's automatic. Because again, it comes with our intention of delivering information in a certain way, and therefore it's automatically dampened to the degree necessary for us to continue the conversation.
And one person asked, why has Darryl's style of channeling Bashar's energy changed over time? It seems like there is less of an accent, less teeth clicking, less affect. Is this because something has changed about Earth's vibration over time and it's gotten easier to transmit to us here? And why did it originally come through the way that it did?
Yes, it's a matter of practice. It's a matter of getting used to a frequency. It's a matter of becoming his version of us, raising his vibration to become more like us, and therefore there's less difference between us and him. Therefore, you would experience less difference. In the beginning, of course, he wasn't used to our energy at all. And therefore, it took some time for him to allow his vibration to rise to the point where you start to lose the differences between us. And we can rely more on the way he exists in his reality to deliver the information in a way that is not filtered, because he is more willing to be open and letting the information come through. And this is part and parcel of the practice of him becoming a teacher himself on his planet, because he is now familiar enough with our principles to be able to do so, knowing that he is delivering relatively accurate information. Because the idea of all channeling is not necessarily for the differences to continue, but for the similarities to become more apparent in your reality, to know that you are just as connected to everything just like we are, and can exhibit that for yourselves. Therefore, you will experience less of a difference. There will be a few things that may remain, so that you understand that there will be a perceived difference on a minor level. But nevertheless, the idea is for fluidity and flow to take over, so that the information can come through, whether from us or from him, to the same degree.
Wonderful.
And the idea of the teeth clicking and other things like that is simply that from time to time, there may be something that we are doing for which there is no translation, and so his body must react to something, and therefore it will be in a non-verbal, non-linguistic fashion that lets you know that something is going on our side that you may not be aware of, that you may not be seeing fully, but the clicking and other affectations may let you know that something is going on that's not being translated fully.
And that's true sometimes when he moves his hands,
Yes.
he's actually mimicking something you're doing on the ship, right?
Yes. If I were now to simply place my hand on a panel, he could ignore it or he could allow himself to go with it, such as this. It just depends on how connected he may be at any given moment in a certain way, whether it's relevant for that expression to be shown, because there are many things we are transmitting to many of you that don't come through verbally. It's also part of the communication that comes through to your unconscious and subconscious self, and representative of a different form and different level of information being downloaded into you to the degree that you are willing to open up to it. So sometimes paying attention to the things that are happening non-verbally can actually be another level of the communication.
Yes, that's true. That's why you said it.
Yeah.
This person's saying they've been longing for contact and they look up at the sky day and night and they wonder if their star family can sense that they want contact. Why isn't it happening? And what do I have to do to connect in with that reality sooner than the rest of humanity?
Stop longing for it and follow the formula. Be where you are. Where you are on earth is the most important place for you to be. Yes, of course, they're aware of it, but they're also aware of the timing that is necessary that benefits everyone. You can't necessarily run ahead of everyone. That doesn't really serve the purpose you agreed to in having this physical reality. So we understand that the longing is the product of more awareness of the fact that you have connections to many other beings among the stars, but you can't use it as a negative, as if, again, you're missing something. You have to allow yourself to make the connection, be aware of the connection, feel the energy, but bring that energy down to earth and apply it in your life in the most positive, exciting, passionate way. That's what accelerates the probability of having the physical connection sooner than later. But again, drop the insistence and there will be no resistance. Just go with the flow, follow your passion, follow the formula, and allow yourself to experience this as a connection of energy, not a longing, which implies the idea that you're missing something. That something else would be better than where you are now, which it isn't. Where you are now is the most important thing that could be happening.
And haven't you said also that when you're following your passion, when you raise your frequency through letting go of negative beliefs and things like that, ET contact, extra dimensional contact, all those things are a side effect in a sense as your frequency goes up. It's automatic in that regard, right?
It is. But again, watch your belief systems and your definitions. Because sometimes when people hear that, they get excited about doing that only for the purpose of accelerating it, which again brings them back to the idea that they're not living in the moment.
Tricky.
If you say so.
As we move into the window of open contact, will there be a significant increase in new channelers and beings working through them?
Yes.
It's almost like a resurgence of more channeling.
Yes, but in different ways. Again, there are many forms of channeling. But the general answer is yes.
Okay. And is there an alien civilization whose political system is a dictatorship?
Yes, of course. Those things exist, and we have discussed some that existed in what you call the past in the ancient Orion systems, which were extremely oppressive and dictatorial. And there are some that still exist out among the stars. It's not like they can basically reach you or affect you in any given way. But yes, they do exist here and there.